Listen to me. 2025 is not the year for 50%. It's not the year for 75%. It's not even the year for 100%. If you want success, if you want freedom, if you want to change your life, you got to give 120%. Everybody in this room, everybody watching this right now, you got dreams, you got goals, you got a vision, but dreams don't work if you don't. And some of you are comfortable giving just enough effort to get by, just enough focus to stay average, just enough energy to say, I tried, but life doesn't reward it just enough. Success doesn't come to the ones who want it. It comes to the ones who grind for it. It comes to the ones who sacrifice for it. It comes to the ones who are willing to die behind their dream. You say you want to be successful, then you can't take days off. You can't take moments off. You can't let comfort win. If you want 2025 to be the year that changes everything, you have to push past the pain, push past the excuses, push past the comfort zone, and go all in. Understand this. If you don't give 120%, life will take everything from you. Your time, your opportunity, your dreams. This world is not going to hand you anything. You got to fight for it, claw for it, bleed for it. You think it's going to be easy? No, it's going to be hard. But when it gets hard, that's when you dig deeper. That's when you remind yourself why you started. That's when you say, I'm not leaving this earth without giving everything I've got. So today, make a decision. Average dies here. Comfort dies here. Fear dies here. From this moment forward, it's 120% or nothing. Give 120% every single day and watch how your life transforms. I need you to hear this deep down in your soul. Everybody talks about giving 100%. Everybody said, I gave it my all, but I came here to tell you, if you want to break every barrier, if you want to break every barrier, if you want to smash every ceiling, if you want to live the life you keep imagining in your head, 100% is not enough. Don't you dare get comfortable with just all. You need to give 120%. You need to dig deeper, push harder, and demand more from yourself than you ever thought possible. Because let me tell you something, life is not going to reward you for what you could have done. Life only pays out for what you actually deliver. Most people live in this life where they think giving 100% means they're doing everything they can. But the truth is, most of you don't even know what 100% feels like. You've been living on 70%, on 80%, on 80%, on 90%, and you call it grinding. You show up to work, you show up to school, you show up to practice, and you do just enough to say you showed up. But let me tell you, showing up is not enough. Breathing is not enough. Going through the motions is not enough. You've got to be willing to put in so much effort, so much energy, so much heart, that people look at you and say, that's crazy. That's impossible. And that's when you know you're finally stepping in to 100%. See, 120%. See, 100% is when you wake up tired. And instead of hitting snooze, you hit the grind. 120% is when your body says a quit, but your spirit said, one more rep, one more page, one more call. 120% is when your friends are out partying, when your family is telling you to slow down, when the world is screaming I take a break, and you look them in the eye and say, I can, because my dream is bigger than my comfort. That's 120%. It's not convenient. It's not easy. It's not cute, but it's necessary. Everybody wants the championship ring, but not everybody wants to practice when nobody's watching. Everybody wants the $1 million lifestyle, but not everybody wants to grind through the broke days. Everybody wants the degree, the promotion, the recognition, but not everybody wants to stay up till 3 a.m. studying, hustling, building, while the rest of the world sleeps. That's why you gotta separate yourself. That's why you can't just do what everybody else does. Because if you do what they do, you'll get what they get. And what they get is average. What they get is mediocrity. What they get is a life full of regrets. But if you want extraordinary, if you want phenomenal, if you want to live the life most people only dream of, you've got to be willing to give more than everybody else. You've got to give 120%. Let me break this down for you. 120% is not just about effort. It's about commitment. It means when you say you're going to do something, you do it no matter what. It means when you set a goal, you don't quit until you hit it. It means when you start something, you finish it. No excuses, no shortcuts, no I'll try again next year. You lock in, you focus, you discipline yourself so much that quitting is not even on the table. You burn the boats, you kill the exit strategy, you remove the plan B. You live like plan A is the only plan, because it is. Some of you want success, but you're not committed. You're interested. You're curious. You like the idea of it. You like watching motivational videos. You like reading about successful people. You like talking about your dreams. But when it's time to put in the work, you fold. When it's time to sacrifice, you hesitate. When it's time to grind, you get distracted. You get distracted. Let me tell you, that's why you're not where you want to be. You got interest, but you don't have commitment. And interest will never take you to the top. Interest will never make you great. Interest will never help you build the life you dream of. Only 120% commitment will. And here's the truth. Giving 120% is not about talent. It's not about intelligence. It's not about luck. It's about heart. It's about discipline. It's about consistency. There are people out there who are smarter than you, more talented than you, more connected than you, more connected than you. But if you outwork them, if you outlast them, if you give more than they're willing to give, you will beat them every single time. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and 120% will always beat 100%, no matter how talented that 100% is. You gotta ask yourself right now, where in my life am I still giving less than 120%? Where am I cutting corners? Where am I holding back? Where am I letting fear or laziness or comfort rob me of greatness? Because that's exactly what's happening. When you settle for less, you're stealing from your own future. You're robbing yourself of your own potential. You're choosing average when phenomenal is on the table. You're choosing regret when legacy is possible. I need you to stop pretending like you have time. You don't know how many more years you've got. You don't know how many more opportunities you'll get. Every single day you waste is a day you never get back. So why in the world would you waste today giving 60%, 70%, 80%? Why would you throw away your time, your energy, your life giving less than everything you got? Listen to me. You don't have time to play. You don't have time to be lazy. You don't have time to coast. If you're going to live, live fully. If you're going to dream, dream big. And if you're going to grind at 120%. Some of you have people depending on you, your family, your kid, your community. They're looking at you, hoping you make it, hoping you break through, hoping you set the example. And you think you can do that giving half your effort. No, they need your best. They need your commitment. They need your 120%. Because when you rise, they rise. When you win, they win. When you break through, you show them it's possible. And let me tell you something powerful. Once you commit to 120%, you start to change. Your mindset changes. Your habits change. Your circle changes. Your opportunities change. Because success has a way of finding the people who refuse to quit. Success has a way of following the people who work harder than everybody else. Success has a way of showing up for the people who show up every single day with everything they've got. And when you finally get there, when you finally hit the goal, when you finally taste success, you'll look back at the pain, the grind, the sacrifice, and you'll say, it was worth it. Every tear, every sleepless night, every setback, every rejection, it was worth it because I didn't hold back, because I gave it all, because I lived my life at 120%. Listen to me very closely because I'm not here to play with you. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm here to tell you the truth, and the truth is this. If you don't learn how to give 120%, you're going to lose everything. And I know somebody's thinking, hey, why 120? Isn't 100 enough? 100 is average. 100 is what everybody else is doing. 100 is what gets you a job, maybe a paycheck, maybe a little security, but it will never get you greatness. It will never get you legacy. It will never get you to the life you keep dreaming about when you close your eyes at night. You've got to go beyond. You've got to give more than you thought you had, more than they told you was possible, more than the world expects from you. You've got to dig deeper, stretch further, sacrifice harder. That's what 120% mean. You think you know your limits, but you don't. You've been operating in comfort so long that you think time means stop. You think pain means quit. You think a good enough means success. But real winners know tired just means you're starting. Pain just means you're alive. And a good enough is the enemy of greatness. You've got more in you. You got another level. You got untapped potential sitting inside you right now. But you'll never see it if you keep settling for what's easy. You'll never reach it if you keep calling 80% of my best. Stop lying to yourself. Stop saying you gave it your all when you know deep down you held back. You checked your phone when you should have been locked in. You slept when you should have been grinding. You quit when you should have kept pushing. Don't you dare tell me you gave it your all when you left some of it on the table. Then let me explain this. 120% is not comfortable. It's not convenient. It's not cute. It's ugly. It's gritty. It's squirty. It's lonely. It means waking up when it's dark and grinding when nobody's watching. It means staying disciplined when everybody else is distracted. It means saying no to the party, no to the comfort, no to the shortcut, and yes to the work, yes to the grind, yes to the vision. It means working like your life depends on it, because guess what it does? Your dream depends on it. Your family depends on it. Your family depends on it. Your future depends on it. And if you don't treat it like it's life or death, you're going to lose it. People always say, yeah, I want to be successful. And I ask them, are you willing to give up sleep? Because if you're not, stop saying you want it. Stop wasting my time. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting God's time. Don't say you want something you're not willing to fight for. Don't say you want success if you're not ready to put in the sweat, the grind, the tears. Don't say you want to be great if you're okay living average. I remember nights I was homeless, sleep in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans. And you know why I didn't quit? You know why I kept going? Because I told myself, you can't afford to give 80. You can't afford to give 90. You can't even afford to give 100. If you want to survive, if you want to live, if you want to get out of this hole, you got to give 120. That's why I'm here today. That's why I'm here today. That's why I can stand in front of you. Not because I was the smartest, not because I was the most talented, not because I had the most connection, but because I made a decision that no matter how tired, no matter how broke, no matter how broken, I was going to give more than what was required. And that's what you got to do. You got to stop doing the minimum and start doing the minimum and start doing the maximum. You got to stop aiming for the standard and start setting the standard. You've got to stop looking at what's required and start asking, what else can I do? How much further can I go? How much more can I give? How much more can I give? Because the difference between average and phenomenal is not talent. It's not luck. It's not opportunity. It's effort. It's sacrifice. It's that extra 20% when everybody else has already quit. You know why most people don't succeed? Because they quit at 100. They cross the finish line and think it's over. They do what's asked and think that's enough. But champions know the race doesn't end at the finish line. The race ends when you've given everything inside you, when there's nothing left in the tank, when you're on the ground gasping for air but smiling because you know you didn't hold anything back. That's 120. And until you live like that, until you push yourself to that point, you'll never know what you're capable of. Some of you have never truly worked. You've never truly grinded. You've never truly sacrificed. You think pulling one all-nighter is hard work. You think showing up 5 days a week is discipline? You think studying for a couple hours is sacrifice? No, that's average. That's what everybody else does. If you want to separate yourself, you've got to live different. You got to operate different. You got to give so much more that people look at you and say, yeah, or crazy. And you smile and say, yeah, I know. But crazy gives results. Crazy changes lives. Crazy makes history. And let me tell you something. 120% is not about the big moments. It's about the little ones. It's about what you do when nobody's watching. It's about how you carry yourself on the days you don't feel like it. It's about the choices you make when you think they don't matter. Because that's where character is built. That's where habits are formed. That's where destiny is shaped. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your discipline. And discipline means 120% every day, not just when it's easy, not just when it's exciting, not just when people are cheering for you. Single, damn me. I need you to understand something. Life is not fair. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your comfort. Life only rewards those who put in the work. Life only responds to effort. Life only bends for the ones who refuse to quit. And if you're not willing to give 120%, don't be surprised when you don't get the results you want. Don't be surprised when doors don't open, when opportunities pass you by, when people overlook you. Because there's somebody out there hungrier than you, grinding harder than you, giving more than you wait. And life is going to give it to them instead. So the question is not do you want it? The question is, are you willing to bleed for it? Are you willing to suffer for it? Are you willing to sacrifice for its going? Because that's what it's going to take. And if you're not willing to give 120%, you don't really want it. You like the idea of it. You like the dream of it. But you don't love it enough to die behind. You don't love it enough to give up comfort, give up excuses, give up laziness. But if you do, if you love it enough, if you're willing to give more than anybody else, then there's nothing on this earth that can stop you. So don't you dare settle for average. Don't you dare accept mediocrity. Don't you dare look at your life and say, yeah, this enough. No, you were born for more. You were designed for more. You were created to be great. But greatness only comes when you give more than 100. Greatness only comes when you push beyond the limit. Greatness only comes when you live at 120. Let me make this real clear for you because some of you are living in denial. You've been walking around saying, I did enough, I tried enough, I gave enough. And that's the exact reason you're not where you want to be. You're living in a just enough mode, and a just enough is killing you. A just enough is the silent assassin of dreams. Just enough is the reason why you keep falling short. And I need you to hear me. You will never become great given just enough. You will never reach your potential doing the bare minimum. You will never live the life you dream of coasting through with average effort. Some of you think showing up is enough. You think being present means you're grinding. You think because you clocked in, because you sat in class, because you went to the gym, that's enough. No, that's survival. That's existing. That's the baseline. And the baseline doesn't win championships. The baseline doesn't build empires. The baseline doesn't make history. Just enough doesn't change lives. You gotta stop living like participation deserves a reward. Nobody gets a crown for showing up. Nobody gets greatness for doing a minimum. If you want to be extraordinary, you gotta stop settling for ordinary. I remember being in classrooms where students would brag about doing their homework at the last minute, turning in assignments just to say, at least I did it. Ooh. What does at least mean? At least it means you did enough not to fail. At least it means you're content with mediocrity. At least it means you'll pass the class, but fail in life. And that's the problem. Too many people are comfortable with at least. At least I tried. At least I made it through. At least I got by. No, you weren't born to at least. You were born to excel. You were born to thrive. You were born to dominate, and domination doesn't come from a just enough. Let me paint the picture for you. Imagine you're running a marathon. You've got 42 kilometers in front of you, and you run 30, you run 35, you run 40, and then you stop. You tell yourself, at least I ran most of it. At least no medal, no finish line, no glory. Nobody cares how close you got. Nobody remembers the ones who almost finished. And that's how life works. Life doesn't pay you for almost. Life doesn't reward you for at least. Life only rewards those who cross the line, those who finish, those who push past, just enough and go all the way. You gotta kill this mindset that effort alone equals success. You gotta kill this idea that showing up is the same as showing out. Listen to me. The marketplace doesn't care how hard you try. The scoreboard doesn't care how close you got. The bank account doesn't care how much effort you put in. Results are what matter. And results don't come from a just enough. Results come from exceeding expectations, going the extra mile, giving more than you thought you had. The reason some of you aren't winning is because you've trained yourself to be comfortable in the middle. You've trained yourself to stop once the pressure hits. You've trained yourself to believe that this is good enough. But the middle is crowded. Everybody's in the middle. Everybody's doing enough to get by. Everybody's surviving. If you want to separate yourself, you got to leave the middle. You've got to climb out of it just enough and start living in it, whatever it takes. I hear people all the time say, I worked hard, but it didn't happen for me. No, you didn't work hard. You worked average. You didn't work with all your heart. You worked with convenience. Worked with convenience. You didn't give everything. You gave what was comfortable. And that's why it didn't happen. Hard work is not measured by sweat. Hard work is not measured by hours. Hard work is measured by sacrifice, by consistency, by the willingness to keep going when it hurts. And that's where most people quit. That's where most people stop. They do just enough until it gets uncomfortable, and then they back out. And then they wonder why their dreams don't come true. You cannot afford to be a just enough person in a world where competition is fierce, where opportunities are limited, where somebody out there is hungrier than you willing to bleed for what you're playing with. While you're saying, I've been enough for today, there's somebody else saying, I'm not stopping until I conquer this thing. While you're patting yourself on the back for doing the minimum, somebody else is still grinding, still pushing, still giving more. And when it comes time for life to hand out rewards, who do you think is going to give them to? The one who did enough or the one who refused to settle? Let me tell you something personal. When I was homeless, when I was hungry, when I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, I couldn't afford to give a just enough. A just enough doesn't feed you. Just enough doesn't shelter you. Just enough doesn't get you out of poverty. I had to give more than what I thought I had. I had to grind past exhaustion. I had to push past tears. I had to outwork everybody around me because survival depended on it. And I learned something in those moments. When you give more than you think you can, when you refuse to stop at it enough, you discover a strength you didn't know you had. You discover a level you didn't know existed. You find out you're capable of more than you ever imagined. And that's the tragedy. So many of you will never meet the real version of yourself because you stopped too soon. You'll never meet the beast inside you because you quit comfort. Comfort. You'll never know your true power because you live in a just enough. But if you would just push past it, if you would just keep going, your body says stop. When your mind says quit, when your friends say it's over. If you would just refuse to settle, you would unlock a version of yourself that's unstoppable. You've got to get this through your head. Just enough is dangerous. It keeps you broke. It keeps you average. It keeps you stuck. It makes you think you're working when you're really wasting time. It tricks you into believing you deserve success when you haven't truly earned it. It's the reason why so many people live their entire lives dreaming of more, but never touching it. Because a just enough is a dream killer. So from this day forward, I don't want to hear, at least I tried. I don't want to hear a Kasabrigans. I don't want to hear, I did my best when you know deep down, it wasn't your best. It was your comfort. Your best is not measured by effort. Your best is measured by results. And until the results show up, you've got to keep grinding, keep pushing, keep giving more. Don't you dare let a just enough rob you of your destiny. Don't you dare settle for average when greatness is on the line. Don't you dare live your life halfway when you were built to go all the way. When life knocks you down, it is easy to feel like you've reached the end of your strength, like the world has taken every ounce of fight out of you. But here's the truth. Those moments, the ones that feel like the darkest nights, are the very ones that test what you are made of. You can stay on the ground, broken and defeated, or you can rise again with a fire inside that no one can extinguish. The world doesn't owe you comfort. It doesn't owe you ease, but it gives you something far greater. It gives you the chance to rise again and again, every single time you fall. No, that rise, that refusal to quit is what defines your character. Falling is not the end. Staying down is every champion you've ever admired has been knocked down, laughed at, doubted, even told they'd never make it. But they rose. And when they rose stronger, smarter, hungrier, more determined than ever before. Think about it. Every time life knocks you down, you are given a choice. The pain, the heartbreak, the disappointment, none of it is meant to bury you. It's meant to forge you. Like iron in the fire, the heat, the pounding, the reshaping. All of it makes you tougher, sharper, unbreakable. That's why some people crumble under pressure while others shine. It's not because life spared one and punished the other. It's because one chose to rise and the other chose to stay down. You are not weak because you've fallen. You are human. But you prove your strength, your power, your resilience by what you do next. Do you stay there complaining, blaming, giving up? Or do you look that failure in the face and say, you will not define me. I am not finished. I will rise again. You see, the comeback will always be stronger than the setback because it's born from hunger, from lessons, from scars. When you rise after being broken, you rise with more wisdom, more grit, more perspective than before. That's why the strongest people are never the ones who've had an easy road. They're the ones who've been crushed, humiliated, stripped down to nothing, and still found the courage to rebuild from the ashes. The scars you carry aren't signs of weakness. They are medals of survival. Every cut, every bruise, every tear is proof that life tried to destroy you and failed. You're still here breathing, fighting, and that alone makes you stronger than the storm. There will be moments when people around you whisper that you're done, that you've lost your chance, that you'll never recover. Some will doubt you, some will mock you, some will mock you, some will even walk away because they don't believe you can get back up. Let them. Their doubt is fuel. Their disbelief is motivation. You don't need anyone's permission to rise. You don't need approval, validation, or applause. All you need is the decision that no matter how hard you've been hit, no matter how far you've fallen, you will not stay down. That's the moment everything shifts. Kick him in my. Not when the world believes in you, but when you believe in yourself enough to rise again. And rising isn't just about standing back on your feet. It's about standing taller than before. It's about refusing to return to the same level you were at when you failed. It's about elevating, transforming, reinventing yourself into someone who cannot be broken the same way again. Every time you rise, you evolve. Every time you rise, you prove that life's blows can slow you, but they cannot stop you. The very act of rising is a declaration of war against everything that tried to break you. Look at history. Look at the greatest stories of human triumph. They all have one thing in common: resilience. People who were beaten, broken, written off, but refused to accept defeat. Athletes who lost everything to injury and came back stronger. Entrepreneurs who went bankrupt and built empires from scratch. Leaders who were doubted, rejected, even hated, but stood back up and carved their names in history. They didn't have smoother paths than you. They didn't have easier battles. They simply chose to rise. And then rising, they became legends. But don't mistake this for something that comes easy. Rising after a fall is painful. It hurts to stand when your body is tired. When your body is tired, when your heart is shattered, when your spirit feels heavy. It hurts to fight when you have nothing left. But it's in that pain that strength is built. No growth ever came without discomfort. No victory ever came without sacrifice. The very act of choosing to rise when everything in you wants to quit is what transformed ordinary people into extraordinary ones. So when life throws you to the ground, well, don't fear it. Don't resent it. Recognize it for what it is: an opportunity, a test, a chance to show the world, and more importantly, yourself, what you're truly capable of. Stand back up, even if it takes every ounce of energy you have left. Crawl if you must, drag yourself if you must, but move forward. Because forward is where your comeback lives. Forward is where your strength grows. Forward is where your victory waits. You may not control when life knocks you down, but you always control how many times you get back up. And if you keep rising, if you refuse to stay down, you become unstoppable. Because nothing, no setback, no failure, no betrayal, no heartbreak can defeat someone who keeps rising. The world can break your body, but it cannot break your spirit unless you hand it over. And your spirit, that fire inside, is stronger than any storm you will ever face. So rise when you're tired. Rise when you're broken. Rise when the world tells you it's over. Rise for the dreams that still burn inside you. Rise for the battles you've yet to win. Rise for the person you're becoming every single time you refuse to quit. Because every rise tells a story. And your story, the story of resilience, will inspire others to rise too. And together, with unbreakable spirits, we prove that no matter how many times we fall, nothing in this world can keep us down forever. When people tell you that patience is a virtue, They often make it sound like waiting quietly and politely for life to hand you something. But patience, in its truest form, is not passive, it's powerful. Patience is the ability to endure the storm without losing your focus, to hold on when everything around you is screaming at you to let go. It's not about sitting still and hoping for the best. It's about standing firm, refusing to break, refusing to surrender when your dream hasn't arrived yet. That kind of patience is strength. That kind of patience is courage. And that kind of patience is what separates the ones who quit halfway from the ones who finish the race. When you're chasing something big, when you're chasing something meaningful, it will test you. You will face delay after delay. Doors will close in your face. People will tell you it's impossible. You'll look around and see others moving ahead faster, and you'll wonder, why not me? Why not now? That's the moment where patience becomes your weapon. Because patience isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about continuing to grind even when the moment doesn't seem to come. It's about planting seeds every single day, knowing they won't bloom tomorrow, but trusting that one day they will. The farmer doesn't dig up the soil every morning to check if the seed has grown. He waters it, he nurtures it, he waits, and eventually the harvest comes. Your dream, your goal, your breakthrough, it's no different. It's a seed. You've planted it with your vision, your sweat, your determination. And now life is testing your patience. Will you keep showing up even when nothing seems to be happening? Will you keep pushing even when the results are invisible? Most people won't. Most people want instant rewards, instant recognition, instant success. They quit because they confuse patience with punishment. But patience isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's the universe asking, are you ready to handle what you're asking for? Because success without patience is fragile. Success without patience is short-lived. Think about it. If everything you wanted came instantly, you wouldn't be ready to hold it. You wouldn't know how to sustain it. You wouldn't have the wisdom to protect it. Patience builds that foundation. Patience sharpens your character. It teaches you discipline, resilience, faith. It teaches you to keep moving even when the applause isn't there, to keep fighting even when no one notices, to keep building even when no one believes. That kind of patience makes your success solid, unshakable, permanent, because when it finally comes, you'll know you've earned it and nothing can take it away from you. But patience doesn't mean you do nothing. Patience is active. Patience is relentless effort combined with trust and timing. You wake up every day and give everything you have. Not because you expect an immediate reward, but because you know every step forward matters. You train in the dark, you study when no one is watching, you grind when no one claps, and you trust that one day the light will shine on you. The light will shine on you. Patience doesn't make you weak. It makes you unstoppable. Because while others burn out chasing quick wins, you're still standing, still moving, still focused on the long game. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Greatness takes time. There is no shortcut to mastery, no shortcut to legacy. Look at the people who inspire you most, the champions, the leaders, the innovators. None of them arrived overnight. They spent years, sometimes decades, honing their craft, failing, learning, adjusting, and waiting for their moment. They stayed patient when others gave up. They stayed patient when the results weren't visible. And when their time came, they were unstoppable. Patience also requires faith. Not blind faith, but the kind of faith that says, I don't see it yet, but I know it's coming. I haven't touched it yet, but I know it's mine. That kind of faith keeps you alive in the waiting. It keeps you motivated in silence. It keeps you focused when the journey feels endless. Without patience, you lose hope. Without patience, you settle for less than what you deserve. But with patience, you give yourself the chance to experience the full weight of your potential. Of course, there will be days when patience feels impossible. Days when you've worked for years and still don't see progress. Days when you wonder if all of this is worth it. On those days, you must remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself that the delay does not mean denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. The longer the wait, the greater the reward. The tougher the journey, the stronger you'll be when you arrive. Patience also teaches you gratitude. When you finally receive what you've been waiting for, it tastes sweeter. You appreciate it more deeply because you remember the struggle, the pain, the sacrifice. You hold on to it more tightly because you know what it cost you. And that gratitude fuels you to protect it, to nurture it, to never take it for granted. Quick success often fades because it was never valued. But the success born from patience is cherished forever. And patience doesn't just build success, it builds you. Every day you choose to stay patient, you become more disciplined, more resilient, more unbreakable. You stop fearing the wait. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop needing instant validation. You become steady, grounded, focused. You become the kind of person who can withstand any storm, any delay, any setback. And that kind of strength, that kind of character is worth more than any prize. So when you feel frustrated, when you feel tired of waiting, when you feel like giving up, remember this. Patience is not wasting time. It's investing in. Every second you stay patient, you're building something bigger than the moment. So every second you endure the wait, you're preparing for the breakthrough. And when it comes, it will be worth every tear, every sleepless night, every sacrifice. Don't let impatience steal your destiny. Don't let frustration make you quit. Don't let comparison distract you from your path. Stay patient. Stay consistent. Stay faithful. Because the day will come when the world sees what you've been building in silence. The day will come when the doors that seem locked forever swing wide open. The day will come when you realize patience wasn't holding you back. It was pushing you forward. And when that day comes, you'll understand why it had to take so long. You'll understand why the wait was necessary. You'll understand that patience was never your weakness. It was your greatest strength. Because patience isn't about sitting still. Patience is about holding on to your vision with unshakable faith, putting in the work day after day, and trusting that your time is on its way. And when it arrives, you'll be ready, not just to touch it, but to own it, to protect it, and to carry it further than you ever imagined. Consistency is a quiet giant that most people overlook. Everybody wants the excitement of the big win, the thrill of the overnight success, the glory of standing at the top of the mountain. But the truth is, the climb is made step by step, day after day, without applause, without recognition, without anybody even noticing. Consistency isn't glamorous. It doesn't feel exciting. It feels ordinary, boring, even. But it is the ordinary repeated with discipline that eventually creates something extraordinary. Think about it. You don't become strong by going to the gym once. You don't become brilliant by studying one night. You don't build a business by making a single sale. You don't create a legacy by giving effort only when you feel motivated. True transformation, true mastery, true greatness comes from showing up every single day, no matter what. Consistency is about doing the right things, even when you don't feel like it, even when no one is watching, even when you're tired, frustrated, or discouraged. That's the test most people fail, because they confuse motivation with discipline. Motivation is temporary, it comes and goes. Now, consistency is permanent. It's who you become when motivation disappears. The danger with inconsistency is that it robs you silently. You might not notice it at first. You skip one day of work, one day of practice, one day of focus. You tell yourself, I'll get back tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next month. Before you know it, the dream you were chasing has slipped through your fingers. Not because you weren't capable, not because you weren't talented, but because you couldn't stay consistent. Inconsistency is the graveyard of potential. It buries countless dreams every single year. And yet, the opposite is also true. Consistency is the birthplace of success. It's what keeps potential alive long enough to grow into reality. The thing about consistency is that it compounds. A small effort repeated daily grows into something massive over time. 10 push-ups today won't change your life. 10 push-ups every day for a year will. Well, writing one page doesn't make you an author. Writing one page every day for a year gives you a book. Saving a little money each week doesn't make you wealthy. Saving a little money each week for 10 years can change your entire financial future. Consistency multiplies effort. It turns small actions into unstoppable momentum. And most importantly, it builds habits, and habits build destiny. When you commit to consistency, you stop relying on your feelings, because feelings are fickle. Some days you wake up energized, some days you wake up tired, some days you wake up tired, some days you're inspired, some days you're drained. If you let your feelings decide your actions, you'll never achieve anything lasting. Consistency said, I don't care how I feel. I made a commitment. I will show up regardless. And when you live like that, something powerful happens. You stop being controlled by your emotions and you start controlling your life. It's easy to show up when it's convenient. It's easy to grind when the mood is right, when the weather is perfect, when everything goes your way. But champions, legends, leaders, they don't just show up when it's easy. They show up when it's hard. They show up when it hurts. They show up when the world is against them. That's what makes them different. That's what makes them great. Consistency is what keeps the fire alive long after passion has cooled. It's the discipline to keep going, to keep working, to keep building long after the excitement has faded. Let me tell you something. Consistency is not about perfection. You don't have to be flawless. You don't have to get it right every single time. You just have to keep showing up. If you fall, you get back up. If you miss a day, you come back stronger. Consistency is about resilience, not perfection. It's about refusing to let one failure, one mistake, one setback define your journey. Too many people quit because they stumble once. They treat a single failure as fine. But the ones who succeed are the ones who refuse to quit. They keep showing up again and again until the breakthrough comes. Consistency is also contagious. When you live a consistent life, people notice. Your family, your friends, your coworkers, they see the discipline, the persistence, the determination, and that energy inspires them to do the same. You become an example. You become an example, a living testimony of refuse to quit. Consistency is leadership without words. You don't have to preach it, you live it. You show others what it means to be committed, to be dependable, to be relentless. But let's be real. Consistency is not easy. There will be days you want to quit. Days when progress feels invisible. Days when you ask yourself, what's the point? That's the danger zone because most people give up right there. They confuse slow progress with no progress. But what they don't realize is that consistency is always working in the background. Every rep, every practice, every step forward, even the ones that feel insignificant, are building something bigger than you can see. The results don't always show up immediately, but they are accumulating. Just because you don't see the growth doesn't mean it isn't happening. Imagine planting a seed. For weeks you water it, you care for it. You see nothing. It looks like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, roots are spreading. Strength is being built, a foundation is forming. And then one day, suddenly it breaks through the soil. That's what consistency does. It works in silence, invisible, until suddenly the results burst into the open for the world to see. The world calls it overnight success. But you know the truth. It was years of consistency finally revealing itself. Consistency also protects you from regret. There's nothing worse than looking back on your life and wondering, what if I had stuck with it? What if I hadn't quit? What if I had just been more consistent? Regret comes from knowing you had the potential but didn't use it. Consistency ensures you leave it all on the table. You might not control how fast success comes. You might not control every outcome, but you can control your effort. You can control your consistency. And when you do, you guarantee that you won't live with the pain of wondering, what if? Think about the legacy you want to leave. Do you want to be remembered as someone who started strong but never finished? Or as someone who kept going no matter what until the end? The legacy of greatness is written in consistency. It's not the big moments, the highlight reels, the viral clips. It's the day after day grind, the choices nobody sees, the effort nobody applauds. That's where true greatness is built. The truth is, consistency is freedom. It frees you from the trap of excuses. It frees you from the ups and downs of emotion. It frees you from the chaos of inconsistency. When you live consistently, you take control of your destiny. You stop waiting for luck, for chance, for circumstances. You build your own momentum, your own progress, your own success. Consistency turns dreams into plans, plans into actions, into results. So, if you want to transform your life, don't look for shortcuts. Don't look for hacks. Don't look for the easy way. Look at your habits. Look at your habits. Look at your discipline. Look at your consistency. That's where the power is. That's where the change happens. Show up today. Show up tomorrow. Show up the next day. Keep showing up until your dream has no choice but to bow to your persistence. Because in the end, greatness isn't about talent, luck, or timing. It's about consistency. It's about who kept showing up when everyone else stopped. It's about who refused to quit when it would have been easier to walk away. It's about who had the discipline to keep building brick by brick, day after day, until the empire stood tall. That's the power of consistency. That's the force that creates unshakable success. That's the difference between those who wish and those who achieve. Life doesn't hand out rewards just because you want them. It doesn't roll out a red carpet because you have good intentions or because you dreamed about something long enough. Life doesn't give success to the ones who sit back and wait. It gives success to the ones who stand up and fight for it. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. They think wanting something is enough. They think saying I deserve this enough, but life doesn't care what you think you deserve. Life cares about what you're willing to fight for, what you're willing to sacrifice for, what you're willing to endure for. Every dream, every goal, every breakthrough has a price tag. And that price isn't paid with words. It isn't paid with wishes. It isn't paid with hope. It's paid with blood, sweat, and sacrifice. It's paid with early mornings, late nights, tired bodies, and restless minds. It's paid when you decide to give up comfort for growth, when you trade excuses for execution, when you stop talking about what you want and start fighting for it with everything you have. And make no mistake, the fight will not be easy. The world doesn't just hand over success, it makes you earn it. You will get knocked down. You will fail. You will hear no more times than you can count. You will face setbacks that make you question if it's even worth it. And that's where the real fight began. Because the fight isn't just against obstacles out there. It's against the voice inside you that says, give up. It's too hard. Maybe this isn't for you. That voice will try to convince you that quitting is easier, that settling is safer, that comfort is enough. But if you listen to that voice, you lose everything. The ones who win, the ones who achieve greatness are the ones who silence that voice and keep moving forward. They don't stop because it's hard. They don't stop because it hurts. They don't stop because they failed yesterday. They keep fighting. They get up one more time. They push through one more obstacle. They take one more step, even when it feels impossible. That's what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. It's not talent. It's not luck, it's a willingness to fight when everyone else has surrendered. You say you want freedom, but are you willing to fight for it? You say you want success, but are you willing to bleed for it? You say you want to change your life, but are you willing to break yourself down and rebuild from the ground up? Because that's what it takes. Life is not a gift shop where you browse and pick what you like. Life is a battlefield where you either fight for what you want or lose it to someone who fought hard. The fight is not glamorous. It's not the highlight real people post on social media. It's the grind nobody sees. It's the sweat that drips when the cameras aren't on. It's the tears you wipe when nobody's there to comfort you. It's the sacrifices you make that nobody applauds. That's the fight. And if you want to win, you have to embrace that part. You have to love the grind more than the glory. You have to love the process more than the prize. Because the truth is, if you can't fight in the dark, you'll never shine in the light. And understand this, life is not fair. You will see people with more advantages, more resources, more opportunities. You'll see others start ahead of you, move faster than you, achieve more with less effort, and you'll be tempted to feel sorry for yourself, to say it's not fair. But fairness doesn't matter, fighting does. Because no matter where you start, no matter how many odds are against you, if you refuse to quit, if you refuse to back down, you can still win. Your fight can beat their privilege. Your hunger can beat their advantage. Your grind can beat their comfort. But you have to decide, are you willing to fight every day even when progress is slow? Are you willing to fight even when it feels like you're losing? Are you willing to fight until there's nothing left to give and then somehow find a way to give more? Because that's what it takes. That's what separates champions from spectators. That's what separates winners from dreamers. Every time you choose to fight instead of quit, you're building something inside you. You're building strength. You're building resilience. You're building a character that no storm can break. And that's the real reward. Yes, success matters. Yes, achieving the dream matters. But the person you become in the fight, that's priceless. That's what no one can take away from you. The problem is, too many people are afraid of the fight. They want easy. They want convenient. They want results. without sacrifice. They want progress without pain. But there is no growth in easy. There is no victory without battle. There is no crown without struggle. If you want to stand at the top, you have to go through the fire. You have to embrace the fight. You have to love it. So don't expect life to hand you success. Don't wait for opportunities to knock. You kick down the door. Don't hope the path gets easier. You get stronger. Don't pray for fewer challenges. You pray for more courage to face them. That's the mindset of a fighter. That's the mindset of someone who refuses to lose. When you wake up every morning, remind yourself, nothing will be given to me. I must take it. I must fight for it. I must earn it. And when you live with that mentality, nothing can stop you. Because the world respects fighters. Life rewards fighters. The universe makes way for the ones who refuse to give up. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, it will be exhausting. Yes, it will test you more than you ever imagined. But if you stay in the fight, if you refuse to quit, if you give everything you have, one day the world will look at you and call you a winner. And you'll know deep down that it wasn't luck, it wasn't chance, it wasn't handed to you. You fought for it, you bled for it, you earned it. So fight with everything you've got. Fight like your life depends on it. Fight like your dream is the air you breathe. Fight when it's hard. Fight when it's lonely. Fight when it's lonely. Fight when it feels impossible. Because the moment you stop fighting is the moment you lose everything. But if you keep fighting, if you keep pushing, if you keep clawing forward, no matter what comes against you, you can win. And when you do, the victory will mean more than you ever imagined because you'll know the truth. You didn't just survive the fight, you became the fight. Excuses are the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves. They sound small, harmless, reasonable even, but in reality, they are thieves. Every time you make an excuse, you hand over a piece of your future. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, you let today slip away. Every time you say, I can't cut because of this, you give away your power. Excuses don't just delay your success, they destroy it. They don't just stall your dreams, they suffocate them. Excuses will rob you of your opportunities, your potential, and your time, and the worst part is they'll make you believe it was never possible in the first place. You know what makes excuses so dangerous? They feel true. When you say, I'm too tired, you probably are tired. When you say, I don't have the resources, you probably don't. When you say, the timing isn't right, maybe it really isn't. Excuses take real struggles, real obstacles, and then twist them into chains. Instead of pushing through, instead of finding solutions, instead of asking, how do I make this work? You settle into the comfort of the excuse. And comfort kills. Comfort kills. Comfort convinces you to sit back, to wait, to stop fighting. But let me ask you this. How many dreams have been buried because somebody chose comfort over courage? How many goals have been abandoned because somebody believed their excuse more than their potential? The truth is, every person who ever achieved greatness had the same reasons to quit that you do. They were tired too. They were broke too. They faced rejection too. They didn't have all the answers either. Instead of making excuses, they made adjustments. Instead of saying, I can't, they asked, how can I? Instead of waiting for perfect conditions, they created progress in imperfect conditions. That's the difference. It's not that successful people didn't have excuses. They just refused to let those excuses control them. Excuses feel safe. They protect your ego. If you say, I didn't try because I was busy, then you don't have to face the possibility of failing. If you say, I don't have the talent, then you don't have to take the risk of putting yourself out there. Excuses create a false shield. They make you believe you're avoiding pain, but in reality, they're creating a deeper pain, the pain of regret. Because one day you'll look back and realize it wasn't the obstacles that stopped you. It was the excuses you made about them. And regret will eat at you far more than failure ever could. Think about time. Time is the most valuable currency you have. Once it's gone, it's gone, it's gone forever. Every excuse you make spends your time carelessly. You think you're buying yourself comfort, but really you're throwing away opportunity. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. You can rebuild your career, but you can't rebuild wasted years. Excuses rob you of time, and by the time you realize what they've stolen, it's too late to get it back. And here's the harsh truth. Your excuses don't just affect you, they affect everyone connected to you. Your family, Your children, your community, they all pay the price for the excuses you choose to make. When you give less than your best, when you settle for less than your potential, you limit what you can give to the people who depend on you. Excuses don't just rob you. They rob everyone who could have benefited from your success. They rob the people who needed your gift, your vision, your leadership. You think you're only letting yourself down, but excuses have a ripple effect that touches everyone around you. The danger of excuses is also that they become habits. The more you make them, the easier they get. One day you skip the gym because you're tired. The next week you skip because you're busy. Before long, skipping becomes the norm. You say you'll work on your dream tomorrow, then the next day, then next week. Before you know it, tomorrow has turned into 10 years, and you're standing in the same place you were a decade ago, wondering where the time went. Excuses grow stronger the more you feed them, and they grow weaker the moment you starve them. So how do you break free? You stop giving yourself the option of excuses. You stop negotiating with your limitations. You make a decision that no matter what, you will find a way. We'll find a way. You stop saying, "No, I don't have the time," and instead say, "I will make the time." You stop saying, "I don't know how," and start saying, "I will learn how." You stop saying, "It's too hard," and start saying, "It's too hard," and start saying, "It's supposed to be hard." That's what makes it worth it. You replace excuses with execution. You replace reasons with results. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Yes, it's going to be painful. But excuses are more painful in the long run. Excuses protect you from the pain of effort, but give you the pain of regret. Sacrifice, effort, discipline. Those hurt today, but they give you pride tomorrow. Excuses feel good today, but they give you shame tomorrow. Which pain do you want? Which pain do you want? The pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Because one way or another, you will feel pain. Well, one of those pains leads to growth. Only one leads to freedom. Only one leads to success. You must understand that excuses will never disappear. They'll always be there whispering in your ear, "You can't do it, you're not ready. It's not the right time." They'll always be waiting, ready to pull you back into comfort. But you don't have to listen. You don't have to believe them. You can choose to fight back. You can choose to act anyway. You can choose to move forward despite the voice of doubt. That's what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. The decision to act in spite of excuses. Excuses are easy. Execution is hard. But that execution is where life changes. Excuses tell you a stay here is safe. Execution tells you a keep going is worth it. Excuses say a wait for tomorrow. Execution says a start today. And every time you choose execution over excuses, you build strength. You build confidence. You build momentum. Eventually, you stop being someone who makes excuses and start being someone who makes results. So the next time you feel an excuse rising up inside, you stop and ask yourself, what is this excuse trying to steal from me? What opportunity am I about to give away? What future am I about to sacrifice? And then choose differently. Choose to push through. Choose to act. Choose to fight for your dream instead of protecting your excuse. Because at the end of the day, your excuses will not pay your bills. Your excuses will not build your legacy. Your excuses will not fulfill your purpose. Only action will. Only discipline will. Only sacrifice will. One day you will look back on your life. You will see the choices you made, the risks you took, the battles you fought. Or you will see the excuses you made, the chances you missed, the life you settled for. Which picture do you want to see? Which story do you want to see? Which story do you want to tell? Because you can either have excuses or you can have results. But you cannot have both. Excuses will always be there, waiting to trap you. But so will opportunity. The question is, which will you choose? Will you keep giving your future away to excuses, or will you finally stand up, take responsibility, and claim the life that belongs to you? The answer lies in every decision you make, every action you take, every time you choose to silence the excuse and move anyway. That's how you win. That's how you grow. That's how you make sure excuses never rob you of your destiny again. Fear is a silent killer of dreams. It doesn't always come loudly, screaming in your face, telling you to stop. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it disguises itself as caution, as logic, as being realistic. Fear tells you to play it safe, to stay where you are. to avoid the risk of failure. And little by little, it shrinks your life. It robs you of opportunities you never took, of relationships you never built, of goals you never chased. Fear doesn't just stop you from moving forward. It locks you in a prison of what ifs. What if I fail? What if people laugh? What if I'm not good enough? And the more you feed those what ifs, the stronger the prison walls become, until one day you realize you're trapped in a life far smaller than the one you were created to live. But here's the truth. Most people don't want to face. Fear never goes away. You can't wait for fear to disappear before you act. You can't sit around waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel brave, waiting for the perfect moment. Fear will always be there because fear is wired into us to protect us from danger. But the problem is your brain doesn't know the difference between real danger and perceived danger. It treats stepping on stage, starting a business, speaking up in a meeting, or chasing your dream as if you're being chased by a lion. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your mind screams, don't do it. And too many people, listen, they confuse fear with truth. But fear is not truth. It's just a signal. And the most successful people aren't the ones without fear. They're the ones who learn to act anyway. Think about every great achievement in history. Every invention, every breakthrough, every revolution was created by someone who was terrified but refused to let fear win. The Wright brothers were scared when they flew for the first time. Steve Jobs was scared when he introduced the iPhone. Athletes are scared before stepping into the arena. Speakers are scared before facing thousands of people. Fear was always present, but it didn't get the final say. That's the difference. Fear was loud, but courage was loud. But courage was louder. The biggest lie fear tells you is that playing it safe will keep you comfortable, but comfort zones are cages. They feel secure at first, but over time, they suffocate you. You start to feel restless, stuck, unfulfilled. Deep down, you know you were made for more, but fear convinces you to stay put. And staying put feels safe today, but it's the most dangerous choice you can make. Because one day you'll wake up and realize that while you were hiding from fear, life was passing you by. Opportunities didn't wait for you. Time didn't wait for you. And now all that's left is regret. Fear robs people of their voice. How many people have brilliant ideas they never shared because they were afraid of being judged? How many people have talents they never used because they were afraid of failing? How many people stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, lives that don't fulfill them, just because fear convinces them that the unknown is worse? Fear makes you settle for less. Fear makes you believe, this is all I deserve. And the longer you listen, the more convincing it becomes. But let me tell you something powerful. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a compass. If something scares you, that's usually a sign it matters. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. Fear points you toward the places you need to grow, the risks you need to take, the battles you need to fight. Fear shows you where the treasure is hidden. Because behind every fear is freedom. Behind every fear is growth. Behind every fear is a life you want. The only way to defeat fear is through action. You cannot think your way out of fear. You can't reason with it. You can't wait it out. You can't pray for it to vanish. The only way to weaken fear is to do the very thing it tells you not to do. Step on the stage. Start the project. Start the project. Have the conversation. Take the leap. Every time you act in the face of fear, you prove to yourself that it doesn't control you. And the more you act, the more your confidence grows. Suddenly, the thing that once terrified you becomes normal. What was once impossible becomes just another part of your life. That's how courage is built. Not in the absence of fear, but in the presence of it. Fear loves the dark. It thrives in silence. When you keep your fears hidden, they grow bigger. When you speak them, when you face them, when you drag them into the light, they lose their power. Have you ever noticed how something that terrified you in your head wasn't nearly as bad once you actually did it? That's because fear exaggerates. It creates worst case scenarios in your mind, making the challenge look 10 times bigger than it really is. But once you move, once you take action, you realize most of those fears were illusion. Now, I won't lie to you. Sometimes you will fail. Sometimes fear will be right that the risk is hard, that you'll stumble, that you'll fall flat on your face. But that's okay. Failure is not fatal. Failure is feedback. Failure is proof you tried. Failure is the stepping stone to growth. What's far worse than failure is never trying at all. Because you can recover from failure, but you can't recover from regret. You can learn from mistakes, but you can't learn from staying safe. Fear has two meanings: or forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. Which one you choose determines your life. Most people run. They run from their potential, from their calling, from their responsibility. They run into comfort, into excuse, into safety. But a few people rise. A few people look fear in the face and say, you don't own me. A few people take the risk, embrace the discomfort, push through the pain. And those are the ones who live lives worth remembering. Think about this. The very things you are most afraid of are often the very things that would change your life. The fear of public speaking could be hiding the gift of inspiring millions. The fear of starting a business could be hiding the freedom to control your destiny. The fear of love could be hiding the joy of a lifelong relationship. Fear stands guard at the gates of your greatest blessings. If you want the reward, you have to go through the fear. The irony is, fear never really disappears even after you succeed. Every new level brings new fears. The fear of starting turns into the fear of maintaining. The fear of failing turns into the fear of success. But by then, you've learned the secret. Fear is not your enemy, it's your teacher. Fear keeps you sharp, keeps you humble, keeps you aware. You stop trying to eliminate it and instead learn to carry it with you. Like a shadow. It's always there, but it doesn't control where you go. The biggest shift happens when you stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I succeed? What if you're capable of more than you imagine? What if the world is waiting for your gift? What if the very thing you're scared of is the thing that will set you free? Suddenly, fear is no longer a wall. It's a doorway. You realize the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the story fear keeps telling you. And stories can be rewritten. At the end of your life, you won't remember the times you played it safe. You won't celebrate the chances you didn't take. You'll remember the moments you were scared and did it anyway. You'll remember the leaps, the risks, the bold moves. You'll remember the growth, the lessons, the victories that came from walking through fear instead of running from it. Because fear will always be there whispering warning, trying to hold you back. But you don't have to obey it. You can hear the fear and still move forward. You can feel the fear and still take the leap. That's courage. That's strength. That's how you take back your power. Fear robs millions of people every single day. But it doesn't have to rob you. You get to choose. You get to decide whether fear will be the voice that rules your life or the fuel that drives you. You get to decide whether you'll let it hold you back or push you forward. Fear is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the starting line of every great story. And your story is waiting to be written, not in the absence of fear, but in the decision to rise above it. Every single day you wake up, the clock is ticking. Whether you feel it or not, whether you pay attention to it or not, time is slipping through your hand. And here's the truth most people don't want to accept. You don't have forever. You don't have unlimited chances. You don't have the luxury of wasting years waiting for the perfect moment. Every second you delay, every hour you waste, every year you let slip by, you're losing ground that you can never get back. And the scary part is life doesn't pause for your excuses. It doesn't stop for your fear. It doesn't wait until you're ready. Life keeps moving. If you don't move with it, it will leave you behind. Too many people live as if they've got endless time. They say, I'll start tomorrow. I'll try next week. Or maybe next year will be better. But tomorrow's not promised. Not promised. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. The only thing you truly have is today, this moment right now. And if you waste it, it's gone forever. That's why urgency is not optional, it's essential. Without urgency, dreams die. Without urgency, goals fade. Without urgency, life passes you by while you're standing still. Urgency doesn't mean panic. It doesn't mean running around with fear in your heart. Urgency means clarity.